Good evening. Tonight we are talking about abductions in Zimbabwe by popular demand. I have received so many messages about and this is a topical issue. People are talking about it, and the question is, what is my take on abductions? And I thought I would be able to open the space so that we all can talk to it, whether this kind of loss of freedom of rights is consistent with the promise of the rule of law. Do you think that abductions after 40 years of independence fit into the scheme of things that you expect in a democracy? Assume for once that Zimbabwe is a democracy and you are the judge of how far Zimbabwe has gone towards the ideal of constitutionalism. Stumble upon this headline talking about 3 members of a political organization having been abducted in the manner in which this has been expressed. What would you expect of your public office bearers if abduction occurred under their watch? What would you, if they knowingly became part of an administration where people who disagree with you are temporarily deprived and divested of the rights that are entrenched in a constitution? What would you say? And this is 40 years of independence, 40 years of an idea that informs the ideal of freedom, of equality before the law, accountability, and all the checks and balances that any constitutional democracy offers. What would you say if you arrived at this destination 40 years later and you look at yourself in the mirror and say, what else could I have done personally? What else could have been done collectively to ensure that the promise that is entrenched in this Bill of Rights that formed part of this independence journey and promise is denied? What would you say to this promise? This is your opportunity to be able to express your own views in the context of constitutionalism. What is constitution? What is the rule of law? What makes human beings different from animals? Animals have a life. That life is given independent of man. What is it that you would say about this journey that has been traveled? And Alan Trapp says it's a sad scenario. These people are scared of MDCA, and they are doing this in order to instill fear. Who are these people, Alan? Name them, shame them. Who are these men and women you call your government? And then you choose to call them something else. Zimbabwe is a lost case politically. Zimbabwe will never be a lost case, money. Because Zimbabwe is this idea, and you are the driver to the ideal. Do you say Zimbabwe is a lost case? It's like saying a vehicle is lost. Surely, how can a vehicle be blamed for an accident? ZANU-PF government, we are abdicating. These statements make me so angry that there is a government called ZANU-PF that has a right to collect income from you, whereas ZANU-PF is a PVO, it's an idea, it's a vehicle, it's like a highway. It's used by good people, it's used by bad people. How dare we call a highway a bad highway? And we are the ones who want to use these vehicles. A promise. If being in government is the promise, a party is a vehicle for human beings to achieve that. When we have structure, when we have order, you can call us the Catholics, Protestants, whatever you call us. Faith brings us together. But I can't blame a church for my choices and actions. Can we on this platform close our eyes for a moment, pause and reflect on what this animal called ZANU-PF government is and is not? What if we are the government that we are waiting for? What if our conversations produce nothing because we are not concerned about anything except to talk about something that we don't know about? How do we build conversations around constitutionalism and how it intersects with the Bill of Rights? How do we bring this conversation to another level? Zimbabwe is in the current mess because of the crop and quality of politicians. Richard, who is the politicians we elect into office? We are the creators of this idea that is corrosive in your mind, Richard, both for the ruling party and the opposition party. What are we talking by creating this human being and calling him a politician? What do I have to be, to bullshit you, to lie to you, then you call me a politician? Why should we deal with that? We seem to elect criminally minded. It is us who create these monsters. And we call the monsters greedy and yet we are the creators of this nightmare. Shouldn't we take time and reflect? Whose government is it if it's not our creation? What are we supposed to do? To look at events, and every day we mourn and groan when the fundamentals of that society we want, we can't create it. Why has the government taken a stance that the abduction is fake without any investigation? It's not the government. It is the people in government. Who puts these people in government and makes them uncomfortable or comfortable? I've been talking about constitutionalism for the last 16 years. Like a barking dog, nobody listens. They say, Mawere, you were raped because you deserved it. You asked for it. You are the author of your own problem. They don't regard anything. There were people whose lives were affected. But other people say, Mawere, why are you talking about your experiences? Talk about others. The only option left to us is to bring the fight to their doorstep, Mkoma. Who is their doorstep if it is not our doorstep, Manex? Who are you referring to as they when we are in a shithole? We don't create them. They rig their way through, backed by the military. How long can we continue to have the same narrative? Blame systems, blame structures, blame a vehicle for an accident, instead of saying the driver of the vehicle was Mr. X. Under your watch, this happened. The problem is not with ZANU-PF as a political party alone, but the mindset of the people of Zimbabwe. Richard, you are talking on your own behalf. Don't give the judgment about other people. Yes, we have a mindset problem. I have a mindset problem. And I'm here for a clinic. And what do I hear? More sickness than what I need to hear. That's why we continue. Who is we to elect the wrong people? You never have the right person unless you step up to the plate. You are the person that you are waiting for. There is nobody else. Don't trust anyone with public power. They will use it in their interest. After all, we are human beings, Richard. We are self-interested. We are self-perpetuating. We want to be loved. We want to be followed. How many people come on social media and they want to be followed for saying nothing than to insult your intelligence? And we follow it every day. And we sleep over it. Come back for another dosage. How many of us sit in WhatsApp groups silent while issues that require attention have no space? How many of us are inactive, fatalistic, nihilistic, and we expect the change because other people change, must change? How many of us? So what's your prescription? I wish, Chinea, I was born a prophet. I'm not a prophet. I'm just myself. I have no prescription at all. But what I do know is that where there is no rule of law, anything goes. We'll point fingers. Because we are the custodians. When it happened on SMM, some people say it is Mawere. He is the cause, the author. And for 16 years, they've refused to know the truth. Jesus says the same thing. 2020 years later, people are still following him. They are still talking about him. But the story has not changed. The characters have not changed. But how many people need new signals when the signals are there from 1980 to 2020? Do you trust your people in government? If the answer is yes, then say so. Don't talk about the system. Talk about the people in government. Who are these? What is the food chain? Who is there? And you can call it something else. What do you think about armed struggle against something? What do you stand for, Brighton? Don't tell me what you are against. Tell me what you are for. Because you may fight against a vehicle, destroy a TV, an object. If you don't want the content, create new content. Don't fight against an object created by men to advance their own interests, and they call it a political party. Then you want to fight against zero to end up with what? 1 or 2 or 0 itself. The political cultism we see in ZANU-PF, there's no basket called ZANU-PF. No bank is called ZANU-PF or MDC, but you and me. We seem not to realize it. Richard, speak on your own. You are here typing on your own, not as a representative of people you don't know. I try to avoid to use the plural when I am here to share my own experiences. Disgraced nation, you wonder what went wrong with our country. Our people are too docile again, for real. Talk about yourself, not about other people, not yourself. You are a complete human being. What would you want in the Zimbabwe of promise? If you want the rule of law to be the order of the day, what are you prepared to do to secure it? We need a holistic approach to deal with this monster. Not we, Mannix. I need a holistic approach. I need to understand constitutionalism. If you are watching and you are listening and you believe you want to know what constitutionalism is not, from a pedestrian like me, because those professors, those elders, those people who are supposed to tell us are missing in action. From 1980, they told us Mugabe had all the answers, yet he was just a man of flesh. We know it. Before him, Caesar came. Mussolini came. Castro came. They all came to pass. How many people thought Mugabe was ordained, was anointed, and they deferred their dreams to allow this one character to become the fountain of wisdom, yet he had no wisdom. How many of us believe that people in government should have a better claim on the solutions of life's problems? How many of us speak of others, their failures? You are right, they say. I think I need to look at myself in the mirror. Who am I and what I have done, even just using my ears to listen? Just to listen. There is no expert on life. No one knows what the highway of life takes you through. It makes you pass through so many stations. Yet you know nothing about life. I am no expert. Somebody, Tapiwa, what the petition by Zimbabwe to the U.S. Congress trying to persuade the U.S. to declare Zimbabwe a terrorist nation. Again, what is your take, Tapiwa? You are sovereign. The moment you ask me, you make me feel like a little Jesus. I am no Jesus. I have no take on anything except to provide this platform to provoke all of us to share our own experiences. When the time is right, I'll share mine if you allow me to. But I can't comment about Zimbabweans who abdicate and create a government, then call others to correct their own government. Surely, you must decide what kind of Zimbabwe you want. A Zimbabwe where the rule of law prevails, or where the rule of man becomes the order, where saluting, cheerleading, buffoonery, stupidity, foolishness, abductions become the order of the day. When we run into a problem, we surrender our sovereignty to us to allow somebody in the United States to do what we must do with our own promise. You are talking sense. ZANU is a system. Never said so, but you give me sense that I don't have. ZANU is just a logo, not a person anymore. People are docile. I am docile because the system made them so. Talk about your experience, Edmo, with this system. Why is it that you can write so fluently, so eloquently, yet in the writing, you abdicate? You appear to be saying that you are a caricature of ZANU-PF. And tell me the one that gave birth to you. What do you call it? You call it ZANU-PF who? What do you call it? Look now, the abducted girls and torture they went through on its own. Listen, we are being taught Kanamchi, Imushida, Wondo, Uyai. No party will ever remove ZANU-PF. What is ZANU-PF? You are the person that you are waiting for. It's not about a fight. It's about you applying your mind. Because like Martin Luther King said, the arc of the moral universe always tends towards something positive, towards justice, towards equality. We hold this truth to be self-evident, that all men are created and they are endowed by the Creator with certain unalienable rights. We are the beneficiaries of this promise of rights to liberty, the right to life, the right to property. Yet we see every day we talk and talk and talk and blame this animal called ZANU-PF becomes more popular than us. Surely we, the living, abdicate to the caricature of human beings. What do we call ourselves when we choose to be less than human? To be human is to possess the power to reason and the power of free will, consent, that no government can claim legitimacy over a sovereign human being. If you want to see how sovereign we are and how stubborn we are, just look at the people who are sharing here. Some people are right, what they think is correct. They are victims of this supernatural human being called ZANU-PF. And when you ask them, take me to that address where this evil person resides, they begin to be angry with you. That think the way I think. ZANU-PF is a monster. Let's get rid of this monster. But what if there is no monster other than you and me? Give me governmental power, give me party power. Soon you discover that when I have it, I will use it to benefit those who are close to me. When you say find the best engineer, I will find not the best engineer because I don't know who is best. I will find those who are close to me and I will call them the best engineer known to me. You may know better. Sheikh Mukanya said we'll get killed. We, Sheikh, please say I will get killed. Say something and get killed for something that you believe in. Stand on your 2 feet. Check. Don't stand on your knees begging not to be killed. You are going to die anyway, whether we will lock down, lock up, or lock out, whatever it is, death is certain. It's part of the promise. But don't leave it in the shadow of death. And yet you have the time, I will get killed for standing for my rights. So get killed first. Then we will bury you and say, there lies a man who chose to stand up for something, not against somebody. What do you stand for that will make you be killed? Selective application of constitutionalism is abductions and torture, not breaking the constitutionalism. No, human beings are selective by nature. We are selfish by nature. We are random by nature. We are irrational by nature. Show me a human being who is not related to another human being. Tell me what death means, Richard. Somebody dies, I don't know the person. Wamawere yikaenda kumawere again kuda, that is a comment I detest. Nika has no legs, but we have legs. We are gifted with the mind. Use it, Kuda. Talk about your own experience, things you have encountered, about things you are angry against. Let's have a festival of experiences. Zimbabweans need to be active in the fight. Who are you, Titapua? Who are you to tell Zimbabweans what they need to do? Just do your part, play your part. Don't tell us what we need to do. I'm okay day to day living so that I can get to death as a living person. The corona judgment, they said the president, that needs to be exploited. What is a corona judgment if it's not a judgment? What it is a dispute unless it comes from human beings? What is murder if there's no body, if there's no loss of life? taking the same judgment against the process used to put Zimbabwe president in power. If you want to be the change, Tapiwa, be the change and say, I stand for constitutionalism, for the rule of law. Don't tell Zimbabweans what to do. Life is hard anyway without your instructions. Who am I? If Prophet Muhammad never left instructions, if Jesus never left instructions, if God never gave me a text of how to live life, it's hard on its own. I urge my countrymen to apply their minds to the Zimbabwean constitution. Who are you to urge other fellow Zimbabweans? You are you. Just be yourself. It's enough. Then, especially Section 38. Yes, for ZANU-PF members. Look at Section 38 for yourself. Look in the mirror and realize that the composition of the Central Committee that voted Mugabe out and ushered this so-called new discipline was not properly constituted. Just talk about constitutionalism. The same thing happened. We can talk about what other people need to do. Jesus never left a balance sheet, never left a bank statement, a check, an ATM card, a dictaphone, a recorder. But he left other people picked up the pieces, wrote the best-selling book in the world. And the leader is nowhere to be seen. But what life he led inspires others, provokes others, ignites. But what is the solution to the Zimbabwean problem? Stand for something yourself, Paida. There is no magic bullet. There is no helicopter that is going to come with solutions. There is no saint that is going to have more than 24 hours in a day to find solutions for you. You are the deal, Paida Moyo. You are the person you are waiting for. Don't talk about systems. Talk that I'm just pissed off because I feel the people in government don't represent my will. I want a government of people like me, sinners like me, but they become accountable because we are organized, we have structure, we have order. Sibanda Stole, Mr. Maro, we need a collective effort to change Zimbabwe again. We. Obviously, it's you. Obviously, you must be the change. You don't need collective effort when you wake up, when you dress up, when you wash. You choose what you wear. Be the best of yourself. Don't be the prefect, the headmaster of life, the leader of life. I am not here to lead you anywhere where I have not been. I have not been tomorrow. I don't know what the future holds, but I know that if we talk about the things that we stand for, we may discover that out of this conversation, we start with 10 like Jews. We build a synagogue, a temple of knowledge. And very soon, we multiply it to decide what kind of society we want. I'm tired of people pointing fingers, yet the best finger is pointing at themselves. What are you doing to contribute to the solution of Zimbabwe crisis? I am here and you are asking me what I'm doing. If I can open your mind, I can provoke yours, I can share experience that make you angry. Not at somebody else, but at yourself, Paida, that I wish I knew something. But I didn't know. I was blind. Now I can see. I give up on my effort that there can be any. Kuda says, give up, so die if you want to give up on life. Every day make a move towards something. Slow, but towards something. Be your own person. Thank you. I get you. That's all, Tapiwa. If you get me and you say on this group, I want to change the narrative. We are 40 people, 30 people. Those who want to be students of constitutionalism, of a platform where we can honestly share ideas, insights, and find what it is that is wrong. What is government? What is the role of government in the affairs of man? Why don't we have a government in the animal kingdom? Why don't we have wealth in the animal kingdom? Why don't we have temples, castles in the animal kingdom? Why human? What makes us human? Is it birth? Is it birthplace? Is it skin color? What is it that we need to do to be what we are intended to be? What is it that I need to do? I can decide. Constitution is not just a script of papers. Only mouth you support works or weapons. Constitution is the biggest weapon because it tells you your rights of nature, that I am a human being not because of a government. I'm a human being because I was created, not born a human being. I can't be born a baboon, a monkey, a chimpanzee. I am human, not because of the grace of man. I'm not the creator. I was created in the class of humans. Why would you want to urinate on me? Why would you want to drink urine? Who the hell are you? And when we speak with one voice, one individual, then they shall know that there cannot be peace without peacemakers. No government deserves to be called a government, yet the people in government don't have something. Mutuma, Sauta, Justin, Richie, Mutuma, there's nothing like that, yes. You are only criticizing me. Tell me what it's like. This is an overplayed song, certain guys and ladies, which they sing and play when they want to create a they want to be relevant. Actually, this is to be ignored, so we don't sink to the level they take us to dwell. Gati totaura zedu zimwe. Yes, you don't have to be here, Sauta. If you think I'm a bullshitter, allow me to bullshit so that tomorrow you have the same freedom to bullshit. But don't bullshit on me and tell me what you think is correct. I've not told you what to think. Just share what you think, not about me, where I am wrong. If you are correct, show me the address where you are correct. I remember in 2004 waking up one day, getting a call from a lawyer telling me, Mawere, there is a reconstruction order. I'm wasting time listening to you. That's fine. When you continue to discourage people to come out with collective efforts, we need each other to free ourselves from the crisis blessing. I'll be lying. I'm not there to encourage or discourage you from doing. If you can come up with collective effort, come up. But what I do know that is an individual is an individual. I have to negotiate with the individual. And if my ideas speak to you, Jesus never left guns. But in his name, temples have been built. Churches have been built. Real estate have been built. No guns. People meet every day in his name. But they tear it, my brother. In Africa, they abuse it anytime someone, I guess if you want me to come here to discourage you, if you know, Solos, what Africa is, I don't know. I don't even know myself where I'm going tomorrow. But what I do know is where I have a voice, I'll use it to open other people's minds. Not to close your minds, not to stop you from aggregating and be the change you want to see. If it works for you, go in the street. Do what you need to do, but all I know is successful societies, the perimeter, the circumference of ignorance has gone down. The frontiers of ignorance. This is about about thinking. What is government? How many of us don't know what government is? We think we do. So if you think you know better than me, fine. Simba Mambura, you should write a book about your ideas to share with the future. I've written a book, books. A Revolution Betrayed is one title. One said, when minds meet, when your mind and mind meet on something, if it's constitutionalism, two of us can agree on that, share ideas on it, you will see the change that is possible. No one can stand against an idea whose time has come. If we say nobody must be above the law, we must say so, because we know the alternative. We have examples. We have storytellers who can tell us stories of how the promise of independence has been betrayed by men like you, women like you. So I'm not here to share phantom ideas to make you angry at ZANU-PF, when ZANU-PF are people, when a system exists because people need it. We may not agree. There are people who benefit from the current status. The status quo is okay for others, while for others it's a nightmare. Tafine Njika Garikai, I really appreciate your discussion, Mr. Mary, but it's very clear it's not yielding anything at all. We've been talking sense for a very long time. Not we. Never give up. Jesus was not an army general. Prophet Muhammad was not an army general. They never left weapons, but they left knowledge. They left experiences. There is nobody who can cause you, Tafirenyika, to be somebody you are not. If you hear sense here and say, let's organize today so that we can set up a temple of knowledge on what kind of society, those founding fathers, when I read the writings, the letters of people, George Mason, when I read about John Locke, when I read about Benjamin Franklin, John Adams, Madison, I sometimes feel inspired that these gentlemen were ahead of their time. They understood human nature. They understood they were men of flesh, but they understood that without the rule of law, there is no progress. Solis says you can think, but in African, they undermine constitution. They. Solis, I'm tired of talking about they. I am here with you, not to talk about they. To talk about you and me. What shall we do? How do we build shared experiences, shared knowledge, shared insights, Solos. Please, don't talk to me about an African. I'm one. So, then what? Then don't blame them. Blame me that I had a voice. I never used it to challenge the mind so that we can begin to take responsibility as individuals. Some people say, I'm afraid to be on this platform. Yet they write. What they write has nothing to do with where things should go, where things have happened. We learn from the past. Yet our past, there are no storytellers. How many people die with stories? You go to the graveyard, it's the biggest bank in Africa. Unfulfilled promises, ideas that remained in the mind, opportunities that were never exploited, the potential that becomes untapped while we choose to remain somewhere else. Richard, who are the right people, Mkoma Chinos? You pretend as if you don't know how ZANU-PF operates the Zimbabwe system. Let's go there. Talk to us. This Mr. ZANU-PF, Miss ZANU-PF, the most popular man because you have chosen not to be the popular person yourself. We got a lot of issues being compromised left and right and center. May you enlighten me what you think the people with mindset from both the opposition ZANU-PF do to change things. Yes, you are giving us homework, Tafirenyika. Just talk to us. Who is Tafirenyika Liberty Garikai? Your middle name speaks of liberty, freedom, sovereignty. Talk to us, Tafirenyika. Why do you have to die for a country? Die for a cause that is greater than the country ever created with borders. Your mind is no borderless. Yes, we can talk, but at the end, we yield nothing. Yes, I am the one talking, Solos. You are trying to discourage me from talking. So talk to me. Tell me what you want to do. Do it. And I'll come to be your best cheerleader. But let's not fool ourselves to believe that we are helpless, that we are fatalistic. Our job is to vote, and we, like condoms, get thrown away because we don't have rights. Can you imagine that we, the many, would like to believe that as individuals they have no power? They have no power to cause things to happen. Solos, talk to me about who you are, not about what can't be done, because in your mind, nothing can be done. Talk to me. Tell me so that I may know you. I don't know you. You don't know me. We are meeting here so that we can provoke our minds to think. And here I have Mr. Matapo. Good evening, Mr. Matapo.
Good evening. How are you, sir?
How are you, sir?
I'm all right. Thank you very much. How is it? Sorry, I came late. I was a little bit tied up.
No, they better be late than never come.
Yes, yes, sir.
We are late. And they never show up.
Sure. Thank you very much. Yes.
They talk to themselves.
Yes, sir.
Talking about things we don't know, so that You know what, Mr. Matapo, one of my favorite
Yes, sir.
person, you know what he
Yeah.
said?
Yes, sir.
He said, when he was talking about life, he said, I walk on untrodden ground. And I walk on untrodden ground.
Yes.
Every step, every decision, every action that I may take is a precedent. You know what he meant?
No.
Huh?
No.
You know, when just imagine you can't walk. How do you walk? Is it you put your leg forward, is it?
Yes.
While the other one is what?
Is behind. And then it follows
No,
also like that.
it's standing
Yeah.
to give you balance. But imagine you take the next step forward, and there's a hole. Can you walk?
No.
You fall into the hole.
Yes.
So left, right, left, right, left, right. So every step I make, I've never taken it before.
Uh-huh.
And that's the journey of life. So simple. One
Yes.
step time. And I don't know what the next step takes me to. And if I don't know, then I celebrate the wonders of life.
Yes.
That I'm too small to lead you. Because every step I make, I don't even know where it takes me. And there are millions saying, come to the ground like solos. Come to the ground. And do it when I'm already talking. I'm not president. I don't have to talk to sovereign people and tell them what to wear.
Yeah.
I don't have to tell Mr. Matapo what time to be on air. He decides himself. If he says, I'm late, I'm late. If he decides I died before I could come on air, he's dead. Then I will go and talk to his life. To say, yes, this man who lies there, I was with him. I didn't know him. When we were talking about abductions, I didn't know he is a victim.
Yes.
When I look at him, I don't see the scars. I see a complete human being. But when I visit his mind, when I visit his back, when I visit his steps to get where he is today, I don't know. I can't even begin to imagine what kind of a human being will go through what he went through and still smile. Other people would invoke the Second Amendment and pick up a gun and shoot somebody.
Yeah.
But other people would then take a step back and say, oh, these are lessons of life. I've learned how small I am in life for me to be a leader of others. I have run my own race. I can't run your race. When I'm hungry, when I'm tired, I'm just tired. Don't make me a leader. Because when I'm tired, I want you to be tired at the same time. I want you to be the next step. So that if you play your part, I play my part, we are going to get where we need to get to together, than for you to freeze your legs so that I alone take the next step to the unknown. He called it a path. Nobody has walked the journey of life and arrived to the end of it, then come back to pick others to take them to the graveyard. Young people die, old people die, we all die. There is no prescription that if you are old, you must be the first to die. If you are young, you must be the last to die. We all don't know about life. So I'm not here as a prophet. I'm not here to tell you something that you don't know already. I don't have answers. I'm no president. I have not applied to be a president. I don't even know what a president does. Yet I see so many people wasting their valuable time talking about a president, not talking about themselves. Mr. Matapu, just to have a session, which yes. I had invited, just for you to talk about you. Because I can't get Madam Ombe, I can't get other people to come and talk here about what it means to be abducted, what it means to lose freedom.
Yes.
And so, who are denying you or depriving you or divesting you of that freedom are paid to protect it.
Yes.
Are paid to uphold the Constitution. Are paid to defend it. And you go to a police station, somebody abducts you from the police station, takes you to an address that you don't know, and one day becomes 2 days, 2 days becomes 3 days, and you keep going under that shroud of darkness. And you come here, Mr. Matapu.
Yes.
And people don't know who you are. They see a man, but the same person has gone through a lot. You know, one time I was invited to a function where we were handing over a donation to President Mandela's village. So there we were. I was the representative of the donor. So there were people in the village at his house in the former Transkei. So we argue who should speak first. There was me, there was another gentleman called Brian Gilbertson, he was with BHP, and President Mandela. So I said, I am the smallest in this chain. So I am a foot soldier. I can speak. I can start. I can middle it. I can also end it. But it's only befitting that President Mandela be the last one. So the contest was 1 and 2. So I prefer to be the sandwich. So I became number 2. And here was no written speech. nothing to say. And what we had donated was a water pump driven by solar power. And I started my own speech that the man who is here, we are donating this pump to you in his name, not to him. In his name. He is one of the most famous prisoners who became a president. Imagine the first day in prison. If people had not known what we now know, what would have been the difference? And when you talk of water, that's life. But when I look at this man and try to imagine the choices he made, the ridicule, the misunderstanding he endured. And I place myself would I want to spend 27 years in prison to be a president for 5 years? The arithmetic doesn't work. Logic, common sense doesn't work. But what kept him going if it's not the promise of the rule of law? If not the promise of constitutionalism? Doesn't matter who you are. We enter life as human beings. We live life as human beings. We are all created equal. Not born equal. We don't have to live equally. But we are created equal and endowed not by government, not by men, with rights, the rights of nature. And that's all he fought. When it's universal suffrage, it means one man, one vote. If you choose not to vote, it's your choice. But those who fought for the right to vote, they chose to make tomorrow, which is today, what it is. That's what brings us here. No guns, nothing. But the promise of fairness, of justice, that the people who use government power to punish others, to victimize others, to divest them, to deprive them of their rights, they must be accountable. Because they are not using their market power, they are using their. And we are the public, Mr. Matapu.
Yes.
And today we're talking about abduction. Some of us, it's stories, it's a movie. It's like death. Somebody's died in Cape Town, I don't know. Someone's died in Chirezi, I don't know the place. It's not death to me. Yet some people are trumpets of actions. Some people even feel more pain than the people who are going through that pain. Some people substitute themselves without knowing that without the rule of law, nobody is safe. When it was Mr. Matapu's time, others said, no, you are a gypsy, Mr. Matapu. You chose the wrong cause. You authored your own misfortune. There's nothing to talk about because of the person of Matapu, not the experience of Matapu. And some of these people are Christians, Mr. Matapu. They will talk about Jesus suffering. He was on the cross. But they don't see a Jesus in you. That without your suffering, we have nothing to talk about. If we had talked about it when it was your turn, today we would have a better society. But we chose to bury our heads in the sand and started arguing who is the best president, who is the best man like a beauty pageant, who can deliver us to the promised land. Surely, if there was a saint, I would need more hours in a day, Mr. Matapu, so that I can attend to other people's business. But if we wanted to know how equal we are, when it's an hour for all of us. When it's 24 hours, the day is ended, it is ended for all of us. There's nobody with a refrigerator of days holding for them to live longer. So here we are talking about Mr. Matapu because I thought I was going to have you earlier, but time never allowed us. I wanted us to talk about you.
Yeah, I could elaborate a little bit for the public just to know if it is possible.
No problem.
Yeah. You see, it's important for us to talk about these abductions, that these abductions are real. People should not joke around and play around with these abductions as if they do not exist. I suffered the same fate. I went through this abduction. Like I said last time that we were abducted at around 3 o'clock, past 2 to 3. It was on a Tuesday, 29 May 2007. And we were only taken to the police station on the 2nd of June. So we were in the hands of abductors from 29 May, so 30 May. So it's, yeah. So it was 29 May, then 30 May, 31 May, 1 June, then the 2nd of June, 4th day, by around 6 o'clock. That's when we were then transferred to the police station. All the 4 days, we were blindfolded. We were not seeing anything. And we were doing everything in our pants. And in fact, in our case, we did not have the pants. We were naked. We were stripped naked. And remember, it was May, and it was very cold. Late May, beginning of June, it was very cold, extremely cold. And we were naked throughout for 4 bloody nights and days. We went through that experience. And we did not see, we could not see anything because we were blindfolded, as I've said. Look, it was traumatic. And you would not know whether you were going to be alive or not over the 4 days. I remember being given one piece of food, whether it was what, but I was given something that they said, eat this because you don't know whether tomorrow you will be alive. This could be your last meal. And then it was put in my mouth because I could not see the people. Not only that, they asked me in the course of time because I was dry in the mouth. It was dry. They asked me, do you want water? I said, yes, I want water. They said, open up your mouth. I opened up my mouth like this. And then they took time because everything that they were doing was silent. They were not speaking loudly. They would speak lowly like that. So it was more like secret maneuvers. So I kept on opening my mouth and nothing was being put in the mouth until I heard in the background, people were almost like fighting. There was someone who was saying, don't give him poison, man. You cannot give him poison. Don't. And then they said, close your mouth. After almost about 20, 30, 45 minutes. I mean, to me, what it meant was that somebody had decided to give me poison, but then someone else fought, said, no, you cannot give him poison. So I went through this experience. We were tortured, you know. Sometimes you could not speak. Sometimes you could not walk. Sometimes you could not even raise your hand or raise your leg. It was tough. We could not know whether it was at night or it was during the day, because every time we were blindfolded. Not only that, but also that they were using masking tapes to seal our eyes. So this eyelid would be pressed like this. And so we were having pain on the eyes. The eyes were so painful. And also blood could not flow properly up and down. You could feel that this upper part of the head was on its own, while the bottom part was on its own. It was disjointed through this blindfolding. Look, the experience was so traumatizing. We were traumatized for 4 bloody days. Unfortunately, the people of Zimbabwe never spoke about that. I am not trying to ask for sympathy from anyone, but I'm only trying to say that, guys, these things, these people are ruthless. They are ruthless people out there. They are people who have no regard for other people. Amongst the people that I was with, some people even died. Some people were shot. Some people were murdered. A lot of things happened. Like I said before, that one person who was killed, it's not only one, but just to mention those that some other people might know. People like Brigadier Armstrong Gunda was killed because they said he was part of us, and yet he was not. Not only him, but people like Lifa, Colonel Lifa was also murdered in the process. So many other people. We were very lucky to survive. We survived through, you know, it was not easy to survive, but we did survive, yes. It's important then for all of us to understand when other people say they were abducted, we need to feel pity for them because it's real. It's not fair for people then to talk about, you know, say out bad things like that. It's not good. It's something that is happening. And
Mr. Matapo, there is a comment here that I thought deserves attention.
Yes.
Shinga also says, Matapo, your anger is seen everywhere. Every time you come to social media, you are an angry person.
I'm surprised he is making such kind of a comment.
No.
I don't know how much. I don't know how he measures anger. I don't understand how he measures anger.
No, the right to be angry is a constitutional right.
Yeah. And I don't.
Why would somebody try to stop you from being angry.
Yes, you see, it's surprising that he is worried about my anger. He is not worried about the fact that I was traumatized. I went through such kind of torture.
Is a woman. Is not a man. But Shinga is telling you that you must. She's saying that I follow you. It's positive, Mr. Matapo, that she actually is agreeing that you have a right to be angry. You have a right.
That's fine. That's fine, Shinga. If that is your feeling, that I have right to say this. Why I'm saying this, Shinga, is because I feel that there are some people who deny when other people get abducted, they get abused, and then people say, no, these are fake abductions. These people are fake. So I'm coming in as a testimony to say, look, these things are happening. I fell victim. It did not only end there, Shinga. I stayed under abduction for 4 days. After that, I was then taken to court. After being taken to court, I was remanded in custody, where I stayed for 7 years, not 7 days, not 7 weeks, not 7 months, but 7 years, facing treason charges in prison, where there was no food, no nothing, where people were dying like flies. I survived there. It was not easy to survive. I went through that kind of experience. I mean, as Zimbabweans, we should talk about those things. And we should not allow those things to happen to our next generation. It is so bad. But if we put leaders who do not care about such things, then we have got a serious problem. We need a Zimbabwe that is good. Where I live today, in a country where I live, they closed the prisons. You rarely see a police officer where I live today. Towns, cities don't have police stations because people manage themselves. There is, I don't know what to say. I'm not trying to brag about it. Right now, as I speak, that's where I am. You see, you look at, you say this is a country. What about our friends and relatives back home in Zimbabwe? I am fighting for you. I can live here. I have citizenship here in Europe. But is this what I want? We want the people of Zimbabwe to stay well. Look, I am speaking from Europe right now as I speak. But this is not what I want. I want everybody to live like this. There is good life here. Yes, there is Corona. Fine. But, besides Corona, there is good life. You can survive well. I can go to a park. I can go anywhere and see nice shopping malls and everything. Yes. But what about the rest of Zimbabweans? We want Zimbabweans to live a better life. Not just me. So it's not about me. It's about everybody. I hope Zimbabweans will be able to understand this. I mean, I can afford to live here forever because I am a citizen here. But this is not my home. I want to come back home. Let us talk about these things so that these things, we condemn these things. As a nation, we say no to these things. We don't want to be like wild animals. We must be like human beings. We look at each other as humans and treat everybody humanly. We must observe human rights. We must live peacefully. We don't want violence. We don't want to fight. We don't want people who just, we must feel pity for each other. We must be people from God. We must respect and value what we were created, the way we were created by God. This is what I think. We need good life for everybody, not just me.
But Mr. Matapo, what is your solution?
my solution is simple. I want the people of Zimbabwe to unite, look at things together in a positive way, rather than fighting one another, rather than blaming one another, rather than, this one is looking at things this way. And I'm not saying we should all have one brains, no, but unity is power. Let us build good institutions that work, institutions that uplift our country, institutions that uplift our people. We are foreigners wherever we are, regardless of the fact that we could be enjoying here. But look, we don't want to be here. We want to be back home. So my solution is unity and unity and unity of purpose. So that can only come if people of Zimbabwe really sit down and think, Africans, why are we like this? We behave like animals. And in Zimbabwe, we have managed to destroy our country simply because we don't know what we want. Let us know what we want. Once we begin to know what we want, we begin to value each other as a human being, then we can be able to build and move forward. Let us refuse to follow lies. Let us follow the right things. But today, people are grouped, some are grouped along political lines, others along tribal lines, others along regional lines. This pains me a lot. When a Shona person looks at a Ndebele person, they despise. When a Ndebele person looks at a Shona person, they despise. When an MDC person looks at a ZANU person, they despise. When a ZANU person looks at an MDC person, they despise. We are all children of God. We are all created equal, like what Mr. Mawere said earlier on. We must value each other. We are brothers and sisters. We are one person and one nation. Let us not be divided, people of Zimbabwe. I went to prison, stayed in prison for 7 years, from 29 May 2007 until 1 March 2014. I stayed in prison for no case. I was not tried. I was not sentenced. I stayed in prison, suffering. I was being regarded as the most dangerous prisoner at Krug Maximum Prison. I said it earlier on another video, that this Joram Swela who was released recently, is one of those people who was sent together with some other thugs to kill me. They beat me. They wanted to kill me while I was in prison for no reason, but they just wanted to kill me. Fortunately, the whole prison had to fight them to save me. I was saved and I survived. A lot of attempts were made to kill me while I was in prison. But God is not for one man. God is for us all. I survived all that. I went through serious torture that you might think of. If I start explaining now, some people might cry because it was intense. Not only that, but also even at my house, my wife would be taken. Sometimes she would stay in prison for 5 days for no reason, because she was coming to see me. She was supporting me. So she went through tough. Not only my wife, her family, her brother, her sisters went through hell. My cousins, all my relatives, some of them ended up having to run away with broken limbs, with whatever. They went through hell. One of my nephews even died. I was staying with that boy. He was disabled. They could not bring him to prison, but they would keep on harassing that boy until he died. A lot of things happened, but Zimbabweans are mum. They are quiet about it. It's not important because to them it's not a priority. Tomorrow it comes to you. Tomorrow it goes to another. Tomorrow to another. Let's talk about these things so that these things don't happen again. I am for you. I am for the people of Zimbabwe. You hear someone saying, no, he's a ZANU-PF person. How can you say that? With all this I went through, honestly, now I am living abroad, far away from my relatives, here where I am living. I want to come back home. I want the people of Zimbabwe to enjoy in their own country, to enjoy. Look, we have got all these minerals. We have diamond, we have gold, we have platinum, we have uranium, we have, you name it. We even have asbestos that Mr. Mawere was mining. Zvishavane was a nice city with SMM flourishing. All those things are history today. What is happening? What is happening, Zimbabwe? I mean, if we're managing our economy well, managing our resources well, our agriculture, putting up our irrigation systems, what have you, dams, harnessing water, our Zimbabwe becomes green for everybody. Managing our minerals, managing all our resources, we would be enjoying back home with our relatives, going to our villages during weekends, driving from one place to another like that with our own cars and so on. Today, we don't have that. It is all because when something happens to another, we ignore. We say it's his own. We don't care. We must care for one another. We must say, what about me? What have I done to make Zimbabwe better, to make the next person better? That's what we should do. We must have a heart for other people. We must have love for everybody, for every Zimbabwean, not just to say, what about me? Don't worry about me. Yes, I went through 7 years of torture. I lost a lot of resources. I was paying my own lawyers with my money. I spent more than $250,000 to pay for legal bills, not just for me, but for everyone who was arrested with me. But don't worry about that. Do not worry about that. That was what I lost. I lost it because I have a heart. I love people. I love Zimbabwe. I love everyone in Zimbabwe. I want Zimbabwe to be great. And I'm saying this, if there is anyone who challenges this, can say it, that I'm challenging this, and I can show you proof, because I've got every other proof of everything that I'm saying.
Yes, Mr. Matapo, there are comments that we can go through when we close. Yes. 7 years, sir, Sabena says. Oh my God. And no one noticed. Yes, let's talk. Thank you for downloading. Only you can bear witness to the facts that you tell us. Who are we to argue with you? Only hope that these stories find space, find expression, so that those who don't know can say, now I know that it happens. I see, Shinga, I see, but do you think all abductions are like yours? Nobody said that, Shinga. We are not here to compare pain, to compare these indignations that have visited some of us. We are only here to tell the story. We don't tell the story of Jesus so that he comes back and avoids what visited him. Tell the story so that we remind ourselves of what can be and what we represent in lives. The human spirit is aspirational. Why give me a life so that 7 years of it, I cannot account for it? Because I was on remand, not because I was saving time, But as I was waiting for the door of justice to open and to declare me innocent, Mr. Matapo has not been convicted, yet he spent 7 years of his time in prison, waiting for the day. Most constitutions provide for 48 hours, that within 48 hours, unless you have flight risk, the state must give you your own freedom so that you appear in court as a free man. And Mr. Matapo's story tells us in independent Zimbabwe that no institution was independent to say no, except the courts had to come to the final conclusion that this is nonsense. It happened, but nobody is held to account for it. Because we are arguing over whether Matapo invited himself, whether his actions are more important or less important than others. We are not here to compare. It's to talk about the state of Zimbabwe, that it has not changed from the day Mr. Matapo saw freedom after being denied of freedom. And today he lives in other states. So it's good to talk, Shinga says. Yet today we have these girls saying they were abducted, They don't have to say either you are abducted or you are not. Either you are free or you are not free. Yet we take for God, make up iri. Tima guys musadaro. Today, somebody may say, it's a game, it's a gimmick. That's what they say to Jesus. It's a gimmick. Let's see whether you can rise up. I feel Zimbabwe is too divided to unite so far away. Sabena, Zimbabwe is a person, it's not divided. Zimbabwe is not you. We are not divisible. We are human. We think. And the people who made this story possible, some of them are still in government of Zimbabwe. Yet, because we don't listen, we are not calling them to order in the name of, not in the name of Mr. Matapo. He has already gone through the West. He's a free man. He was always a free man, but other people tried to play harm to him in the name of public order. You have a point talking about unity. How do we deal with external interference on political, e.g. USA and UK? Let us find each other on what kind of government we want, not we don't want. We all know what we don't want. I don't want to hear Mr. Matapo's story. I have not been sleeping because of it when I heard it. I've been listening to him, follow with him, but I never internalized what exactly he was saying, because I chose to see it as something that it was not. But here you have a human story. There is no movie. It's a real life story. I've read the judgment, and it talks of a man being freed one day, acquitted one day, the next brought back, and continues in a chain of injustice. Technicalities are used to keep him outside the shackles of prison. Please don't insult animals. Nobody insults animals, but they are animals. We are not animals. We must rise above the animalistic nature of us. We must be humans. We must what is right or wrong when he spent 7 years on remand on a crime that he did not commit, then we must know what it is. Our institutions failed us. No institution can fail us. Behind the people, Mr. Matapo, there are individuals, George. He knows some of them. Some he doesn't know because they blindfolded him. But he knows he's too alone. He's a lonely guy among 6 million people who are eloquent in their silence on what matters, who would like to choose the victim so that they celebrate the victim, not the cause in victimhood. I don't trust what you are saying. You don't have to trust what he's saying. It's his story. I was not there when Jesus was crucified, but I got faith that it would be so evil to write a Bible, 4 versions of something that they never witnessed. Who would be that storyteller who would imagine stories and put them, codify them, put them in chapters and verses? What for? What did Jesus leave? Stories. What did Mr. Matapo tell us? Stories. What is the difference between stories? He is a child of God. Why would God want us only to deny us the mind of man, the hands of man? So, somebody, my only reservation I have with Matapo is thinking that only him can lead the fight for true independence. I don't think anyone is saying that. He's saying that I am one of them, yet you are calling me names. I have gone through the trenches. I have gone through a lion's den. Here I am preaching the message. And here we are telling him that he must not talk about his experience and the Zimbabwe he wants. He has spoken and said we must be united on something. If it's rule of law, by all means, let's use Matapo as a case study to know how crooked the system, how crooked the individuals in the system can be, how cruel we all are. So you are not the only one who suffered. There's no competition of suffering. Mandela was not the first one. He was not chosen to be in the front. But through him, the pain of others found expression. And today, South Africa is on a journey towards something. And we, the people, must give it legs to get where it must get to. We, the sovereigns, we make choices. I'm not politically affiliated to any, but what do you think of having one government and having a division of brothers and sisters? We cannot think. We have to act it. Mr. Matapo, thank you very much for getting out there, giving your voice, not hiding in Sweden, so that people can tell your story as if you are a dead person. You are a living person. Your scars, you should not be the one to tell your story. It should be our job. We tell the story of Jesus every day. There are many pastors who don't have examples that include a person like Matapo, just because we think his views don't coincide. The moment you declare someone an enemy, then it becomes difficult to make peace with a person. That's the mistake we are making when we declare ZANU-PF. That's another view. All these views are here just to give expression to what kind of Zimbabwe we want. What is it that we want a country? And what is it that we want to convert this platform, any other platform, to talk about people who don't exist? I would rather have more Matapos. Tell me blow by blow, so that it sinks deeper into my veins that never again shall this happen. Yes, Fumo says, please Mutuma, stop commenting on Jesus out of context when you absolutely know nothing about Jesus Christ. You have a way of commenting as an authority on a matter that clearly evades you. Matapo, you did well. I'm sorry for what happened to you. I'm not Jesus. I am not Jesus. And I've never pretended to be one Fumo. I don't know what I don't know, but the person who knows is being misunderstood by people who have ears to listen. All we can use is when he told me the story, I paused, asked questions so that I understand it for myself, digest it. Not that I want to substitute him. I don't want to tell his story, but I want him to have the opportunity of telling the story the best way he knows how. And he is here. If he's not Jesus, then who is Jesus? He is here, spent 7 years in prison for a crime that he didn't commit. And we take it as a joke. Because even just 1 day in prison is too long. 1 hour is just too long. So Fumo, don't ask me to stop, but ask yourself to speak your own mind about things that have visited you. If nothing, then let's fasten our seat belts, allow those who have lived it to speak to it. Who am I to qualify what Mr. Matapo says or chooses to say? If he is lying, so be it. Let it be his own version. Let it be his own story. I've never doubted Jesus' story. I've never doubted those who chose to document it, share it. But when the person is alive and he chooses to give up his time to share, why can't we allow them to do so? Give up our time? Opposition parties are meant to put balances in ruling party. No, there is no opposition, according to me. We, the people, must stand for something. If a person of the opposition only voices when they see injury in their own house, they are not opposition. They are opportunists. Many people who are opportunists. Then says, Mr. Mawere, may I request that you keep the discussion balanced. Let's allow each one of us to vent out why we don't want you to try to get facts or at least ask for clarify. We never know where they're coming from. Fine, I'm saying I've done my bit, as I said to CEO. Please, let's have multiple platforms so that we don't look to any, to be the voice, to allow you to speak when social media gives you the platform to speak. I am angry at myself because there are things I don't know that I wish I knew. If you don't doubt Jesus' story, then you too, Mr. Mawere, are lost. Yes, MM is not brainwashed. He's free to express his mind. Zimbabweans are less to think. That's why we are controlled by ZANU-PF. I don't controlled by ZANU-PF. I am here. I have no ghost that tells me what to say. Signora, please come on air so that we have Dr. Mawere in my life. You know Ramatapo. Dr. Mawere in my life. Awi amamona uyo atanga futi. Stupid guy. Yeah, the hell is he? So I am already, so Signor, I am the most misunderstood person. There are people who think I'm the author of the demise of SM. They don't even want to talk about it. They don't want to talk about the rule of law because they think the law was justly applied. When it comes to me, there are people who think, yes, why are you giving so much time to be live? Why are you expressing yourself? If there was somebody who express better than I can, I don't have to be on a live show. That's not my business. But every day I wake up, I find myself having to get something out. Don't get me wrong, my brother. I love your commentaries. I know how you elaborate and eat this sidekick yourself. And when you met with injustice in Zimbabwe and lost your companies and no one came to your aid, not to my aid. I don't want anyone to be in my aid, Fumo. I want you to stand for something and use me as your weapon to secure the Zimbabwe you want. If I had my way, I would restore. I've never asked for restoration. How do I restore 7 years to Mr. Matapu? How do I do it? The day of reckoning for the wrongdoers is coming. No, I'm not here speaking of revenge. I'm here to stand for the rule of law and property rights. I am not here as a victim of this monster called ZANU-PF. I don't know it. I'm here to tell you that if we are not careful, it will happen to you tomorrow. When you get abducted, when they knock on your door to deprive you of your freedom, you find you are alone, Fumo. You find there is nobody else who is there with you. So we are not talking about things that have happened outside our lives and we are trying to theorize about it. Let us talk about things we know before we die so that you can be able to tell the story. Remember the good storytellers of yesterday. Who would argue with them? Those who went to distant shores, when they came back with goddess, those who became the first in a village, those who became the first lawyer in a village, when they came back, and just to talk about what it meant to be in a classroom and to qualify as a lawyer among villagers who knew nothing about the law. Yet those who have earned those degrees have nothing to show for it. Where are their missing voices? So that we may not speak. Would you want Jesus to come back to speak about his life? Let us be the voices of injustice, so those who don't know what injustice is can see it through somebody who is alive, who can confirm and testify. That is in the court record. It is me that came out after 7 years. It is me. I don't have to say much. Because my life already is a story to tell. You are misunderstood by fools. You're only a fool when it comes to Jesus. Talk about Neanda Bengula. Jesus never left cash. I may be wrong, but what he left is life experiences that are told every day, 20 years, 2,000 years later. True, Fumo, at least we end up agreeing with Fumo Jenna. And that's ought to end our show. That we can agree and we can disagree, but not becoming disagreeable. I'm grateful to you, Fumo. When you see something and you look at it in the eye and say, this is wrong, not because of the victim, But because of injustice in the cause, Signor Matapo has a version of injustice. I have my own. You, Prophet Mawere, you have your own. Everyone something to say. Let us be the festival of ideas. Don't wait for me. Don't make me a little prophet. I am none. I am just me. I can only talk about things known to me. So, Signor, nobody stops you from a live video. But allow us to have 24 hours. While you are doing something, I could be doing something else. I can't be there the whole day. It cannot be right that you hear my voice 24 hours. No. I'm saying go out after this show. Let us have Signor's show on constitutionalism. Let us have your voice on a platform. Sabena, let us not be these peeping toms, these vuvuzelas, these cheerleaders, to allow me to listen to my voice. I'm only here because I'm angry that for 16 years, people never understood me. They thought I was looking for vindication. I was looking to be restored. I was a victim. I never knocked on anyone's door looking for food because I'm a victim. Yet some people call me a victim. The real victims are the people who were working at the mines, supplying to the mines, whose lives were ruined. Why can't you talk about them, those nameless, faceless people, and say never again shall we sacrifice so much to punish one man? Yet the one man is just a symbol, a logo, a face, one stomach, 2 eyes, 2 ears. Guys, people who are human beings who can see what I see, who can hear what I hear, who can walk to places I can walk to. Yet there are people here who call me a victim. Please, respect me so that I respect. Mr. Matapo has not said he's a victim. He's not a victim. He's here to remind you and me that he is the man who went through this. In him, if I don't see Christ in him, if I don't see God is in him, who can explain 7 years of being denied freedom and come out smiling, come out talking about the Zimbabwe he wants to see? And he was arrested for treason. Against what? That a shithole is a shithole. There must be something that is in the world that is smelling. Let's remove the smell so that we can get a government we deserve. So I hope, guys, don't look at me. I'm none. I don't have 25 hours in a day. I got 24 hours. So forgive me if I don't give you an opportunity to speak, because the social media, yes, the social media is an opportunity for us to express ourselves. Let's not wait for a leader to give us an opportunity to speak, and we are free people. We the free, we the sovereigns. Sabena, we want to hear your story. Justice. Justice anyway is justice, is injustice everywhere. So thank you, Mr. Matapo. Maybe you may want to close.
Yes, yeah, maybe then I just say we have got a petition that is going round. Those of you who would want to sign it, please feel free to sign the petition. that petition is not asking UN for help. No, it's only asking UN to acknowledge, just to know. Don't worry about, it is practical in that we just want UN to know. So let us sign, all Zimbabweans, because we are facing difficulties at home, and then we'll take a step further. Thank you very much, the people of Zimbabwe, for being here and for listening to what we have been discussing. Thank you very much, Mr. Mawere, for all the time that you have taken.
You know, Mr. Matapu, you know what our song is?
Yes.
For the show.
May you say it again? Sorry, my volume has just gone down.
You know what our song is for this show? You know what it's called?
No, I don't know the song.
The song is called Amazing Grace.
Okay, Amazing Grace.
Yeah. So this is that I was once blind.
Yes.
Amazing grace, how sweet sound that saved a wretch like me. I was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. Through countless dangers, doubts, and fears, I have already come. God's grace hath brought me safely here, and grace will lead home. My chains are gone, I've been set free. My God, my Savior, rest on me, and I realize mercy reigns. Unending love, amazing grace. His guiding hand shall be my stay. His strength with me. I stumble day by day, He shall not leave my side. My chains are gone, I've been set free. My God, my Savior's rest on me, and I know His mercy reigns. Unending love, amazing grace. This earth will one day melt like snow. The sun refused to shine, yet God who sent will be forever mine. He'll be forever mine.
Okay, Ms. Matapu, they asking where is the link?
Yeah, I can I can put the link. Let me see if I can put it here.
Yeah, please put it so that those who want to petition can do so. And those who are interested in being part of this conversation on constitutionalism, please say yes. I for yes. And no, and for no. Those who are interested in constitutionalism, rule of law, understanding what this is all about, and being part of a broader conversation on the rule of law, just associate yourself with the cause so that we multiply and not divide ourselves. So if you are interested, please do your part, play your part, speak your voice. Thank you very much.